Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's Link for Growth Southwest Herts TV show. As usual, Tania has lots of local news from around the district. Neal has a whole host of bundle, I should say, of sports news about Watford and Kings Langley FC. He's also got boxing news, and as you may or may not know, Neal is quite a advocate of green issues and stuff like that, so we'll be talking about how you can have a green Christmas. Chris is travelling again today, but as an added motive to get him back on the show in time for 5 o'clock, we've sent him off to a brewery, so we really will see if he can organise a binge in a brewery. And Catherine is back after a week of absolutely slaving over something last week, and she'll be back this week with all the usual charity and entertainment events news. And a restaurant review. As usual, you can contact us on Twitter at L4GSWHearts, that's at L4GSWHearts, which is what appears beneath my name. We'd like to hear what your views are and what your suggestions are as to how the show could be improved, or indeed content that could go into the show. So all of that sort of information we'd love to hear back from you. Tania, it's been a really busy week in Southwest Herts.
It has, Diane. There's been heaps going on, well, as you'd expect with the run-up to the festive holiday, and we've got heaps to talk about the police station and cleaning up Watford and Southwest Herts, and even, I mean, the most important thing of all, where to look in the sky to see Santa as he comes past Southwest Herts later on this week. Can't remember what date that might be.
You tease. Anyway, Neal, for more down-to-earth stuff, Neal's going to be reporting about football, because well, we don't have a show till the 8th, and there are quite a few games on. So he'll also be reporting about the game against Sunderland. He'll be talking about transfer speculation. He's back. No, he's not. He's gone. And also against the games against Liverpool and 3 other teams over the holiday period. He'll also have some boxing news. Catherine, not so many events coming up this week for local charities, but lots of other events going on. And some charities are already promoting the events for the new year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's still a bit of Christmassy stuff going on with lots of things going on in local churches. Of course, we've got the Magi arriving, and lots of charity things going on in January as well. Yes, looking forward very much. People are preparing now for New Year, new projects, new charity fundraisers. So yeah, lots to come.
Yeah, that's great. So I suppose the first thing to do would be to talk about what's happened at Link for Growth over the past week or so. We had a coffee at the Reason Coffee Shop and Bookstore on Monday, which was quite nice. Tania was there for part of the time, and a couple of other people, so that was quite nice, and one or two interesting discussions about community building there and stuff like that. Chris had yet another chance to try the lemon drizzle cake at the kitchen in Croxley Green on Tuesday morning with yet another Link for Coffee. And finally, last night we had Link for Drinks in Watford at the Moon Under the Water pub, I should say, in Watford High Street. Tania, as I said, there has been lots of local news. The first bit concerns the police and the fact they're not going to close Watford Police Station.
That's absolutely right, Diane. The proposal from the police authority is that they close the holding cells, the cells where they hold people that they've taken in for the evening or the day or whatever, the custody facilities at Watford Police Station over there on Clarendon Road, Shady Lane, and apparently they're not going to do that, so that's going to be brilliant. The reason they're not going to do it is if they do close that, it means that the police that we do have in the area and any arrests that are made in the area, they're going to have to transport any people arrested all the way over to Hitchin, I think it was. Hatfield. Well, there you go. It begins with an H. Sorry about that. Hatfield. which is going to take an awful lot of police time, of course, which is going to take all of those bobbies that we like on the beat and all of those people that we like to be sorting out the crime in the area away from sorting out the crime in the area and into sort of transporting duties, which sounds like a very silly way to do it to me. But anyway, they've decided not to, and our local police and crime commissioner and our local mayor have both said that this is a great idea and that it's going to be good to keep the cells in Watford.
I was going to say, when was that news, Tania? Because I had an email from Dorothy's office earlier on today saying that the custody suites are still closing, but that the police station itself isn't. Because I think that was the worry that that people were thinking, oh, the whole police station is going to close. But I think the custody suites are still closing for a trial period. I think they're keeping an eye on things till something like February to see if the system works.
Well,
I may be wrong, but I think that's the latest information.
You will be more up to date than me. Absolutely. Well done. Thank you very much for that on the spot news update. Breaking news here in Watford. We're going to keep the police station, but not the custody suite. So we're still going to be transporting people. There you go.
Oh well, we'll see what happens. But the other thing is, talking of seeing what happens, phase 2 of the possible redevelopment of Watford is up for discussion, and the public have a chance to comment on it.
That's right, absolutely. So every part of the country has got a local plan, and part 2 of our local plan is now up for discussion. And we've talked about this before. One of the key things, one of the key changes in the local plan is because Watford's the biggest town in the area, biggest town in Hertfordshire, and because there's so many people here, they're talking about having taller buildings in the area. So from 7 to 10 stories, rather than in the old plan it had been slightly less tall, the buildings proposals. So it's one area where people really might want to have an impact, make a statement, have their voices heard, and they can do that by taking part in the consultation that's currently ongoing. If they go to the Watford Council website, then the local plan is up there, and you can have your say on whether you think the plan for the area's buildings moving forward is the right one for now. You can also see this plan in libraries. So if you don't want to go online, then go and have a look in the libraries.
And of course you can comment directly to Watford Council, can't you, with your feedback?
That's right, exactly. Direct to Watford Council, either through the website or through the libraries.
Okay, that's great. And earlier on we talked about how Watford were having a big clean sweep of the roads and everything, trying to get rid of the leaves, and they collected quite a total in weight, didn't they?
They did. They did, absolutely. They did 99 metres squared of footpaths and 39 metres squared of roads were tarmacked and repaired, and 21 different streets in the area, and it was 3 tons of rubbish that they collected from those 21 streets. 3 tons of rubbish. And of course the reason that they had to do this clean sweep, as they call it, was because these roads are so busy that there's normally lots of parked cars on them, so they can't get to the road surface, they can't get to all of the street surfaces and the pavements. So they asked people to move their cars for these couple of days while they did all of this extra work, and it sounds to me like they've had a fantastic time with collecting 3 tons of rubbish and all of that repairs to paths and road surfaces. Really, really good. I hope that those people in those areas have been able to see the difference.
Yeah. The other are offering free teaching sessions for primary school pupils, which seems a bit of a strange one.
Yeah, but how good? So far, over 4,600 children in 11 different primary schools across Watford have been involved in 83 what they're calling waste warrior sessions. about the importance of caring for the local environment. And I think this is a really good way that businesses can get involved in helping to educate people, the residents of tomorrow, let's say, in what's the best way of looking after our town, of looking after ourselves, of looking after our world, so that we can take care of our own environment. So it sounds really, really good. The schools are quite happy because all of the sessions that I can never pronounce this name, Veloia, whoever they are. All of the sessions are connected to the curriculum, so it helps the schools in delivering the curriculum. The kids are happy because it's quite interactive and quite fun, and that organisation is happy because they're able to do things that help to further their organisational aims as well. It's all focused on waste recycling, litter, climate change and nature, which is way up our street, so I'm really pleased about it too.
Yeah. Three Rivers have said when the council offices are going to be open and closed over the holiday period.
They have, Diane, absolutely. And the best thing that I can say is there are so many council offices and facilities that really it's best to go to the threerivers.gov.uk website and look for their Christmas and New Year opening times. Probably the best one to mention today without going through all of them. The main Three Rivers house seems to be closed on the days that you'd expect it to be closed, like Christmas Day and Boxing Day and the weekend and New Year's Day and the weekend. So it seems to be closed those days as normal, and open on the other days that's 8:45 to 4 p.m, which is probably very similar to their normal days. Maybe a little bit of early closing. But if we have a look at the leisure centre, William Penn Leisure Centre, then on Christmas Eve it's open from way early in the morning, so all of those early swimmers will be able to get over there and have an early morning swim at 6:30 a.m, but closing at 2. And it's actually open on Boxing Day for 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. On Monday the 28th of December, 6:30 till 6 p.m. So that looks like quite a long day there. Some normal days in amongst there in that week. And on New Year's Eve, again 6:30 a.m. till 5 p.m. So those council workers there won't be going to the pub too early on New Year's Eve. It's closed on New Year's Day for everyone to recover. Thank goodness for that. And then it's open as normal from Saturday the 2nd of January. Well done those council workers for putting in all of those hours over the holiday for us.
But as you said, exact details can be found on the Three Rivers website.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Now, Radlett station hasn't got oyster pay-as-you-go yet, unlike Watford, and their local MP has had something to say about this.
That's right. So their local MP is Oliver Dowden. He's the MP for Hertsmere, and he's a bit fed up with this. They wanted the extension to be there already to oyster pay-as-you-go, and it's not there yet. So he's been firing off letters and emails to the Department of Transport and Thameslink and all sorts of other people to say, when are we getting it? So he says it's vital that Department of Transport officials, representatives from Thameslink, Govia Thameslink it's called, get their heads together and determine who precisely is responsible for what, how to address the complications that Govia Thameslink cite as being the reasons for the delay in extending oyster pay-as-you-go to Radlett. Both my constituents and I expect much more, and I'll continue to monitor developments closely, he says. So, well done him, having his say.
I mean, it's still much easier, at Watford Junction, where it's close to where I live. All I have to do now is with the Oyster Garden, don't have to go and buy a one-day travel pass and all the rest of it. It's so much easier. So you can see why he's pushing for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've recently moved out to the sort of Hemel area. Hemel is now my local train station, and not having pay-as-you-go is yeah, it's not as good as when you do have it. So you can see what they're after.
Yep. And Hertsmere have also announced a couple of people are going to be rehoused.
That's right. What they've done is they've taken buildings originally part of Shenley Hospital and transformed them using £100,000 of government grant and funding from Hertsmere Borough Council into 2 3-bedroom homes. What a blooming brilliant idea. So this was a property that had some doctor's surgery and some nurses' accommodation in it. They've stripped it out, replastered, rewired and divided it into these 2. New bathrooms, flooring and doors were installed by Hertfordshire-based contractors Capital Heating. Genesis Housing Association will manage it on behalf of the council and in agreement with the leaseholders, the Shenley Park Trust. All funded through a government scheme, private lease agreements converting empties, so empty properties, into properties that can house people. And we've talked before on this programme about the problem with homelessness in and around this area. House prices are so expensive that all of any little helps, as one supermarket would say. Really, any properties that we can get back to good housing order is a real boost to people in the area. So it's really, really good news. Very good.
Good. And there's a new litter campaign. I'm old enough to remember Keep Britain Tidy. I'm sure none of you are. I'm sure you're all much too young for that. But there's a new litter campaign lined up in connection with the Queen's 90th birthday.
That's right, Diane. I do remember Keep Britain Tidy and all sorts of things. I was at school at the time, and it was probably primary school or whatever. I do remember the Keep Britain Tidy campaign and all of the pictures of people putting things into bins and whatever. So yeah, this one is a new one, and I know it's something. I went to see the district council fairly recently, a couple of months ago, I suppose, and there was one of the members of the community then that was talking about litter being a big problem. I personally think that Watford's quite a clean and tidy place, but clearly a new environmental project to clear up Watford is on the cards, and well and good for it. The new Spot the Difference posters advertising the Keep the Streets Clean for the Queen programme will go up on the side of Council's fleet of waste vehicles from next week, helping to spread the message as the waste crews are out and about in the borough. And it's to spot the difference. You know, where's the litter was and where's it gone?
Okay, well that sounds all very good. But I gather you've got the inside track on Santa's flight plan.
Yeah, this is the most exciting thing for the whole of the week, clearly. You know, eagle-eyed children are going to be just probably watching the end of their beds, or maybe they're watching the stockings by the fireplace. Well, there's also the option now to watch the skies, because you might catch a glimpse, just the tiniest glimpse, of Father Christmas flying over Watford next week. Now, you'll have to be looking in the right direction, and the right direction is in the southwesterly direction. Apparently, the detail for those people with this sort of information and knowledge is 14 degrees above southwest, to be precise. And it's going to be there, you're going to be able to see it for less than 5 minutes. You know, Santa's got to get round the whole of the world in one night, so he's not going to be here for very long. You've got less than 5 minutes before he jets off out of view as he's flying over Watford next week. The shimmering lights of his sleigh will be visible in the early evening, but it's only very briefly. So take a look out, keep a lookout for Santa on Christmas Eve, and you'll be able to see him shimmering in the Watford skies next week.
And of course he'll be coming back later in the evening to make deliveries, won't he?
Oh, that's right, yeah. 5:21 is when he's going to be here. It's far too early to be delivering gifts. Yeah, he's just doing his fly pass, making sure that he can do it, that's all.
He's looking for landing places and chimneys.
That's it. He's got to make sure that he's got all the new houses that have been built, and he's got them all in the area. So yeah, he's got to make sure he's up to date.
And he's probably on a mince pie count as well.
You might be absolutely right, Diane. Mine's a story.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Tania. We'll keep an eye out for that. The 14 degrees is 14 degrees above the horizon. So,
Well. Good.
That's what it means. So you don't have to look that far up. It's not like you're looking way up in the sky, sort of that way.
And that's it's a southwesterly direction. So look somewhere towards London.
No, more towards Heathrow.
More towards Heathrow. There you go. So look towards Heathrow, about 14 degrees above the horizon. That's right. It. At 5:21 p.m.
Yes, and we'll see Santa, which will be exciting. Neil, there's lots to, thanks for that, Tania. There's lots of news, Neil, to discuss, because there's Watford 4 games coming up between now and the 2nd of January. Kings only have 5, I think. But we'll start with your thoughts on the Sunderland game, please, which I think you predicted as a draw, but actually Watford won.
Yeah, I did predict it as a draw. I thought it'd be tougher than it was. Delighted. It was only 1-0, but it was comprehensive. They didn't really cause us too much trouble, despite what the manager, Sam Allardyce, says.
Yeah, because Watford are now 7th.
Yeah, 7th, and mixing it with the big boys now, just a point off 5th.
Yeah, and did you ever dream of this position back in the summer?
I've said all season we'd finish in the top half, and my friends laughed at me, and I said, no, we'll be about 8th, so I'm not surprised at all.
Okay, that's great. And there was a notable achievement for Igalu, the striker at Watford, who everyone is talking about.
Yeah, he scored the only goal early on. He could have had more, but he's got a bit of a record because he's the fastest player to 30 goals for Watford in 52 appearances. 50 appearances, I think it was. No one's done that for over 50 years, which is amazing.
Yeah, it is quite amazing when you think about it. And there was praise, somewhat begrudging praise, let's put it, say, from Sam Allardyce, the Sunderland manager, for the way Watford played.
Yeah, he says they need to start emulating us because he claims they had just as much of the game as us. They did create chances, I'll give them that, but they're easy to break down, and we weren't. I think that's what he was talking about. They need to become difficult to beat, which Watford are.
Okay, and Quiche Sanchez-Flores is saying the positive atmosphere at Watford is because relegation's never crossed their minds.
Yep, right from day one when he's turned up. Apparently they've never talked about relegation. He's just worked on bonding them as a team, making them all get on as a team so they'll work for each other. But yeah, apparently it never comes up in training or in the dressing room.
Okay, great. Now, football is always, Christmas is always a busy time for football around Christmas, New Year. No excuse, no different this year. Watford have got 4 games, starting with Liverpool on Sunday. So, followed by Chelsea and then Tottenham and Manchester City. So perhaps we could go through them one by one and start off with your thoughts on the Liverpool game.
Yeah, so it's that time of year. Always a massive pile-up of fixtures. And then when the season started, when you look at 4 games, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man City, Watford supporters were just hoping we'd have enough points on the table to actually get through this period. But we've got more than enough points, and not only that, now we're actually challenging these teams. So it's going to be good. So start with Liverpool. Liverpool have had an up and down time. They've had some really impressive scores, some heavy wins, but they've lost and drawn the last 2 games. So I fully expect a draw out of Saturday's game. They're not that special. They're missing players. We've got a full squad, and Brodell and Barami are back in the contention for the matchday team. So that'll be a draw. The Boxing Day game.
Sorry, before you do, there was something on the Telegraph, I think it was this week, where they were saying that Watford haven't picked up a single point on television this season, and they are the worst performing team when it comes to TV shows.
I'm not sure. That may be true, but I'm not sure. These things go in periods. We had this a few years ago where we never used to pick up a point, and then all of a sudden we were on TV, and last season, the season before, we won every single game pretty much. So it's no measure of anything. it's no measure of anything. It's your form on the pitch that matters, not whether there's TV cameras in front of you.
Okay, great. As you said, Liverpool got 1 or 2 injury problems, but their problems are probably quite small in comparison to Chelsea, who they play on Boxing Day.
Yeah, Chelsea. Now, Watford fans were really looking forward to this game because they seemed beatable by everyone under Jose Mourinho. Unfortunately, now we're going to have the new manager effect probably with big names like Gus Hiddink being linked to the job. The Chelsea players will be out to impress, and it's going to be a really tough game. Really tough game. I was hoping to get a point out of it before, but I think this will be the one where we maybe get beat.
Okay. So very briefly about the Spurs game, because that's still a little way off.
Yep, Tottenham on the 28th, home again. This is eminently winnable. Tottenham do not travel well to so-called small clubs, which we will be perceived to be a small club. So I'm looking for a win out of this game.
Okay, and City?
And City, really tough. Really, really, really tough game. They've got a big game against Arsenal, which is a cruncher for them. And if they lose that and they're chasing, I fear they're going to come down and really turn it on. We are hard to beat. We could eke a draw, but I do fear another defeat. So I'm predicting 4 points from the 4 games over the Christmas period, and I think that will be more than enough. Actually, that will be great.
Okay. Of course, straight after the Christmas games are all done and dusted, it's then transfer time, and there are all sorts of reports that Watford have signed this footballer from Italy, John Manuel Urtuber, is it, in January?
Yeah, good luck on pronouncing that. Yeah, I'm going to say Juan Manuel Urtuber, but that's probably wrong as well. Apparently that's not a confirmed deal though, so we'll hear about that. But there's going to be at least 2 or 3 players coming in. I'd say 2. I'm guessing at 2 players coming in.
And so I've seen one headline that said Igalo would get in the Manchester United team.
Well, he would right now because Manchester United aren't very good. But he half a season at the top level, and as well as he's done, would not necessarily get him into the other teams because it's their team performance, him and Deeney, that are the good things. So if a team was to want to come in and snap both of them up for 50 million for the pair, then they might do well. But I don't think either one of them personally would do particularly well in any of the other teams. It's the teamwork that's working at Watford.
Okay, that's great. And it's all very well talking about players playing possibly for Manchester United and these other big clubs, but football is actually quite a brutal game, isn't it? Especially for the youngsters, the dropout rate is quite high, and that's kind of reflected with Sean Murray returning, who's an old Watford player, but is actually only 22.
Yep, Sean Murray was getting regular games over the last few seasons. Write your order then. You write it down. Sorry, I got customer. It's a regular, it's okay.
Okay.
He was regular, but we're a much stronger squad now, so it's becoming increasingly difficult for the youth team players to break through and the young players to break through. So it looks like we're going to be relying on the loan system, loaning them out to other clubs to get them their experience. But they've all got to up their game massively to get anywhere near the match day squad.
Yeah, because it is a big gap, isn't it, between kind of like the youth team football and under 21 football, from what I've been reading, to the first team.
It's huge. Players that come into our team who are full internationals can't get into the squad. So for a under 21 player or under 18 player to make a match day squad, they've got to be exceedingly talented. So they're going to have to get loaned out to get their match day experience elsewhere, I think.
Okay. And Watford have signed a new goalkeeper.
Luke Simpson. He's cover for Remy Gilmartin, who's unfortunately injured for the season. A young chap with promise. But I would imagine when Gilmartin comes back, they'll put him 4th in the pecking order. But it's a big step up for him, so he'll be happy to try to push himself forward. And funnily enough, the keeper is the one position where sometimes the young players do come in and get their chance just because of injuries.
Okay. We also follow Kings Langley, and they are doing exceptionally well. They're now 4th in the league.
Yes, after their blip earlier with two losses, they've won the last two, so they're up to fourth in the league. And their Christmas fixtures look like this. They've got home to Royston on the 19th, tomorrow, and then they've got two away games, which are going to be tough over the Christmas period. Fleet Town on the 22nd and Norwood on the 26th. Non-league players travelling over the Christmas period, I would imagine that's pretty disrupting to their lives, so they're going to be tough, those two games. And on Saturday the 2nd, they're at home to Northwood Greener. I'm guessing if they're still in fourth place after the Christmas period, they'll be happy.
Yeah, because they've done quite well, haven't they? I mean, they won 4-1 the other day, last week. So yeah, they're obviously in good form.
They're a good team putting it to the big boys. They're a village team putting it to the big boys. So yeah, good luck to them.
Right, great. And we've got some boxing news. I mean, Anthony Joshua beat Dylan White, is it, with a knockout last week at the potential British title at the O2 Arena, and he's talking about a rematch.
Yeah, it was an impressive performance, and I think he wants a rematch just so he can beat him again, because there was a little bit of trash talking beforehand, and I think Anthony just wants to put it to him one more time. I don't see any other result if it happens, and it probably will, because the money men will want it to happen, so it probably will. Okay.
And former Bushy fighter is also hoping to make it a successful payday tomorrow.
Yeah, Intercontinental Cup holder, I believe it is. 13 unbeaten, but he's fighting what is being told is his toughest opponent so far, and he's been told that by his opponent. He's a bit more confident and said he's going to knock him out with the first punch.
So this is Mitchell Smith, yeah?
Yeah, it's I don't really know much about him, but he's unbeaten. I don't think he's fought a lot of quality from what I looked up on the stats. But you have to build up slowly in boxing these days. Not many people go straight to the top, so it's good that he's stepping up a level.
Okay, that's great. Well, Neil, we'll be back a bit later on to talk about a green Christmas.
Indeed.
So in the meantime, you can serve some coffees. And,
okay.
We'll give you a shout nearer the time. Okay.
Speak soon. Bye-bye.
Speak soon. Bye. Okay, Catherine. Quite a lot on in terms of plans for the new year, but not so much happening this week. But there is at All Saints a Crib Fest this weekend.
Yes. Yes, you can hear me, all right. Yes, absolutely. This is All Saints Church up in Croxley Green. I mean, there's lots of churchy things going on. There's tree festivals all over the place, but this is a crib festival, and it's the first time that they've done one. So they're filling the church with lots of different cribs, both traditional, contemporary, all differently designed, differently made, whether they're homemade, family favourite bits and pieces, or family heirlooms. So if you want to go and have a look, join in the Crib Festival. It's on Saturday the 19th of December, so that's tomorrow, and also Sunday. Tomorrow is 11 till 5 during the day, and Sunday is 11:30 till 4. It's free. There's light refreshments available. Go along to All Saints Church on Croxley Green.
Okay, great. And the Springs Dance Company are holding something this weekend as well.
Yeah, also at All Saints Church, Croxley Green, Springs Dance Company, they're presenting The Journey of the Magi, obviously very topical. This is going to be on Sunday the 20th of December. Tickets, adults are £10, children aged 3 to 16 are £5. It's been performed by Springs Dance Company. It's a production of dance and theatre, song and poetry. The blurb says that it's entertaining, powerful, compelling. It's the journey of the Magi, and festive, witty and poignant tale enjoyed by children and adults. So it sounds like a fantastic thing to really go and sort of embrace the festive spirit of Christmas. So this is on Sunday from 6 till 8. And this is at the All Saints Church in Croxley Green.
Okay, that sounds really good. And there's new mural artwork that's appeared in Rickmansworth.
Yeah, Waters Meet. Waters Meet isn't just Waters Meet these days, it's also Artists Meet. They're a group of arty people who've done various things that we've reported on over the last few months. This is their latest thing. They're announcing the arrival of their latest piece of artwork, which is not in a gallery, but actually it's on the wall outside the building. It's a project that's been in collaboration with Three Rivers District Council and also Berry Lane Art Group and St Peter's C&B Private Primary School in Mell End, where the Year 6 pupils submitted designs in a competition to see who could win, in the hope that their entry featured part of this permanent mural. So it's absolutely worth going along to have a look at the amazing artwork that has been a collaboration between these groups. The theme of it was Make Your Mark, so the children's designs were themed around their favourite memories of Rickmansworth. As part of the project, they also painted their own tiles, which featured in the Big Draw exhibition, which were reported on in October. So it sounds like it's an ongoing way of embracing different groups in the community with different art projects. And what better way than displaying it on the outside of the building for all to see? It's free. Go and have a look.
Okay, that's great. And moving on to 2016, talking about Artists Meet, you can set sail.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Something in the water at Artists Meet as they begin a creative showcase of an exciting new exhibition. They're featuring the work of Joe Atherton, who is an artist who creates fascinating tapestries using debris and materials found from around the coastlines of the UK. That sounds absolutely like something I did at art college, and there's nothing better than foraging for bits and pieces and creating a work of art out of it. It's incredibly satisfying. So expect to discover balloons from France, fishing gear from the Netherlands, and toys from the USA with Joe's woven pieces, which will fill the gallery and create stories of memory, childhood, and everyday life. And there's even a work in progress loom on display where you can actually touch and feel the weaving as it's happening. So yeah, it sounds like a great exhibition. This is going to be on Tuesday the 19th of January till Friday the 26th of February at Artists Meet. From Monday to Friday, 10 till 4. Entry is free. Again, no excuse to not go and have a look at what's going on there. Sounds absolutely fascinating.
Okay, that's great. Several of the charities have announced what they're going to be doing in the new year in terms of fundraising and everything. Some have announced more plans than others. St Francis have announced they're going to be running a Biggest Loser campaign in January.
Yeah, this is quite a comprehensive campaign, and it's something that's absolutely brilliant. You know, we all have that feeling in January that, you know, we've had Christmas, it was great, but we ate a bit too much, didn't get out as much as we should have. What shall we do now? Oh, I know, I'll start a diet. Well, this isn't actually so much a diet as looking at, you know, lifestyle changes. What can you do to get a bit fitter? At the Hospice of St Francis have teamed up with Sports Space to host this 12-week course where their Sports Space are actually offering lots of different incentives to get people more interested in fitness and the fitness classes and the things that they run. They are providing a nutrition workshop, 6 personal training sessions to use for those participating in the course throughout the challenge, as well as group training and weekly weigh-in sessions. You'll also receive a free Sports Space Gold membership for 12 weeks, which means you'll have access to their classes, the pool, and the well-equipped gyms across all their sites. And there's also more than £500 worth of personal support and expertise. What they're asking is that you raise, I will tell you how much you raise, it is here somewhere. I think you have to raise £500 towards the hospice charity. So what they're saying basically is, we're providing you with all of this, we're going to get you fit, you're going to enjoy it. If you can get some sponsorship from friends and family to raise money as a fundraiser for the hospice itself. It sounds like a fantastic scheme. All the details are on their website. There's a couple more things for the Hospice of St Francis. So they're obviously having quite a few fundraisers, so I'll put the link for the website up there, and all the details will be accessible. But you can register online and all the details will be there. But it sounds like a great thing to get involved with.
And if you do want to jump out of an aeroplane, they can provide you with the opportunity.
Yeah, you can do that too. Skydiving on the 20th of March. If that's your thing, then this is the place to register for it. Absolutely. If you're interested in skydiving, raising some money, they're asking for a minimum sponsorship of £400 for that one, and they will pay the cost of £200 for a tandem skydive. Yeah, you have to pay a non-refundable deposit of £50. I'm guessing there's a form or two to sign as well. Registration is all online. Absolutely brilliant. To say, if you've always wanted the thrill of jumping out of an aeroplane, you've seen them do it on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out. If you've thought, that looks easy, I could do that, do it.
Okay. I don't think I'll be volunteering for that one.
Do you know what, Diane? I'm not sure that I will be either, but there are people who will.
Yes. No, maybe golf is more of your thing instead.
It's a little more sedate, isn't it? I'm not sure that golf is my thing either, but I know a lot of people who enjoy these golf days. Yes, absolutely. Another fundraiser for Hospice of St Francis. There's not a vast amount of details available yet, but if you go on their website, this is something they've got planned in the diary for April. Friday the 15th of April. Put the date in your diary. There's going to be an 18-hole Stableford competition, followed by a gala dinner, prize giving, raffle and auction, all the usual sort of fundraising bits and pieces going on the day. They're usually really good days. You know, these golf days usually start with an egg and bacon butty in the morning, and you go around, do your thing. Enjoy the day, have a dinner, mixing with lots of other people as well. So it's a good time to make connections and things as well obviously as raising money for the charity. Fantastic idea.
Right, and if they've also got some guaranteed spaces on the Brighton Marathon, which is happening also in April.
Absolutely, yeah. The Brighton Marathon is an increasingly popular marathon. Lots of people that I know seem to get involved in doing this. We had a runner for the Brighton Marathon for the Michael Green Foundation this year, and he really enjoyed it. But yeah, this is on Sunday the 17th of April, obviously in Brighton. And the hospice has a running team. This is again the Hospice of St Francis. They have a running team who can give you all the support you need to make this challenge a fantastic fundraiser. So I say it's a great atmosphere. It's the full marathon, the full 26.2 miles, which is nothing if you've done the training for it. It's a fantastic opportunity to raise some money. You'll get a free hospice T-shirt to train in, and they'll also provide you with a personalised hospice running vest to wear with pride on the day as well. Again, the details are all on the website. 17th of April, another date for the diary.
So are you going to start training?
I'm probably going to start with the 12-week course and lose the weight first, and then I'll get into the training. Yeah, it's all in the diary for January.
Oh, good, good. And if you want to get really fit, of course you can cycle from Land's End to John O'Groats.
Absolutely. Why rely on 2 feet when you can have a couple of wheels to go with you as well? Another great opportunity to raise some money for Hospice of St Francis, Land's End to John O'Groats on a bike, not walking, on a bike. Now there's 2 of these going on by the look of it. They're doing one from the May the 3rd to the 15th. Or August the 30th to September the 11th. So 2 opportunities to get involved in this one. Starting at Land's End on the southwesterly tip of England, which I know very well because I used to live down there, just saying. You will pedal your way through Cornwall, over Dartmoor and north along the Welsh border, going through the Lake District, into Scotland, via Lochs and the Highlands. Probably need your woolly hat by then. Up to the north coast and John O'Groats. Roughly 1,000 miles. Hence they've allowed a few days for it, but absolutely stunning and remote countryside in the British Isles. What better way to explore our own British Isles? It's a tough challenge, but there's lots of people who they have on board who can help with the people, no matter what your experience, what your level of fitness is, all ages, all backgrounds. The trip is led by experienced Discover Adventure leaders who are selected for their experience in harsh wilderness environments. And there are a few wilderness places in the British Isles. I think I've walked there before. So don't worry about the experience. Get involved. You get all the training that you need and raise some money. Registration for this one is £299 with a minimum fundraising target of £2,600. So quite a serious challenge, but obviously a very rewarding one.
Okay, that's great. And Michael Sobel also keen for people to get on the bikes.
Absolutely, yeah. Everybody's getting the bikes out for the new year, and why not? So put your thighs to the test. Well, I'd use the whole leg and everything else as well, and take the challenge of our annual sponsored bike ride. This is a 33-mile route, starting and finishing at the Michael Sobel Hospice at the hospice in Northwood, taking riders through Amersham, Bovingdon, Hemel Hempstead. You register at 7:30 in the morning, and the ride starts at 8. Now this is on the 24th of April, from 8 in the morning till 1. Or whenever you finish, I guess. Early bird entry fee of £15 per person if you register before the end of February. Entry after that is £20 for adults and £30 thereafter. Children can enter, it's £10 for children, but children aged between 11 and 16 must be accompanied by an adult. The route will be signposted and marshalled. You'll be able to grab your water along the way as well. We ask riders to raise a minimum of £100 sponsorship to help the work of the hospice. Again, registration is online. Looks like another fantastic opportunity to get involved with something that's going to raise some money for a fantastic cause, as well as getting fit and meeting lots of new people as well.
And if you're less energetic and you want some pampering, Michael Sobel can help.
Yes, glad you mentioned that. I just put that paper to one side. Yes, they're having an indulgence evening. So once you've done all your training and you need a good pamper session and you just feel like an Indian head massage, a bit of reflexology and perhaps a new hairdo, then go along to this indulgence evening. This is on Wednesday the 10th of February from 7 till 10 in the evening at the London School of Theology, Green Lane. Interesting venue, but yeah, there's going to be all the usual sorts of pampering things there. So you've got free taster therapies, you get a goodie bag to take home. This is all included in your ticket price of £16. You also get a glass of bubbly thrown in there as well. Lovely way to start the evening. Therapies include a mini makeover, massages. There really are Indian head massages, and I can totally recommend them. They're absolutely gorgeous. Hairdressing services, house of colour talks, jewellery, accessories, loads of things to buy, tea and coffee, delicious cakes if that's your thing as well, along with some live music. So that sounds like a fabulous evening. Wednesday the 10th of February.
Okay, well, that sounds much more my sort of thing than riding a bike.
Me too.
Well, you'll be back a bit later on with a restaurant review at the end of the show.
Absolutely, yeah. Are you heading off to find Chris now, by any chance?
Well, I was, but I've been texting whilst you've been,
Yeah.
he's been delayed in traffic. So obviously,
no, he said he was walking.
well, I think he's delayed from where he's getting from to Watford.
The irony is that Nick is there, but Nick isn't. He hasn't got. I'll see if I can send Nick the link to the show. But Nick has been there for the last half an hour or so, so hopefully he's still standing. Yeah, we're just waiting for Chris to turn up.
Okay, well, hopefully we will be getting Chris on later. But in the meantime, as I said, Neal is, and as you may have noticed from his tweets and everything, a very committed green activist. Well, obviously it's not our point on this show to talk about politics, but what we can do, and what we do is encourage community involvement and recycling and saving the environment and stuff like that. So we thought it'd be a good idea on this show just to talk about how you can have a green Christmas. Now, all of us really, we want or dream of a white Christmas where it snows late on Christmas Eve, we wake up to a white Christmas and everything, and there's tons of stuff that we get bought in, tons of waste, rubbish, and all the rest of it. But then what do you do with it? Well, in the old-fashioned days, we all used to bin it. I think now we're all trying to be much greener. So what are some of the tips of being green, Neal?
So one of the main ones would be don't buy unnecessary presents. In the past, and I've been guilty of myself in the past, just buying joke presents for the sake of it, and they're going to go in the bin the next day. That's incredibly bad for the environment. So that would be the number one. Just buy things people actually want. are actually going to use, and they're going to last a long time. No joke presents. You can play a board game or something if you want to laugh.
Okay. Let's start with the tree, shall we? Because that's the most obvious thing to do with Christmas. So I suppose the thing is, what is the best type of tree to buy? Is it an artificial one that's going to last you years and years and years, or is it a natural one but with a root system, so that you can, perhaps plant it in the garden and bring it back next year, or is it a natural one with the roots chopped off that you can then mulch at the end?
There's actually no easy answer to this one, funnily enough. But the recommendation would be, if you have a artificial one up in the loft, definitely use that. Don't go out and buy anything else that you've got it up in the loft. And I know people do it all the time. They've got one up, they can't be bothered to get it out, so they'll just go and buy a new one. So use the one you've existingly got, even if it's looking a little bit threadbare. Once you get your tinsel and that on it, it's going to look very nice. So that's the best thing you can do. If you do want to go artificial, buy a good one that's got the longest guarantee possible, and longest lifespan. Now live, it's a really difficult one, because I'll run through a few reasons why. If you're going for one that's been cut, you need to ask whether it's come from a farmed source. So is it sustainable, and are they replacing the stock? So you need to buy the person where you're getting it from, and that's quite a good option. If you're going for one that's in a tub, you actually need to ask if it's been grown in a tub or if it's been grown in the ground, because if it's been grown in the ground and put in a tub, it's likely going to damage the roots, which means it's going to be tough to keep it growing after Christmas. So if it's in a tub, great. Make sure the tub's big enough for it to carry on growing. If not, don't forget you'll need to put it into a bigger tub for it to carry on going. If you want to put it in the ground, you can, but remember, Christmas trees can get big very quickly. And if you're in a small urban area, I don't think your neighbours are really going to appreciate you having a 30 or 40 foot tree within 3 or 4 years. So my personal preference would be to go for one in a tub that has been grown in a tub, and plant it on. It will last you at least a couple of years, and then find someone to pass it on to who's got a big garden, I guess.
I suppose in a way what you almost do is hire your live Christmas tree for the festive period.
Yeah, that would be a great service, wouldn't it? That would be a fantastic service.
But
if you do go for a potted one, and you go for a 3 or 4 foot one, it's going to last you 3 years, 6, 7 foot, and that, I would say, that's a good option.
Okay, that's great. Now, what about wrapping paper? Because there's usually lots of wrapping paper. If we recycle it, do we have to take the sellotape off, or can we just leave the sellotape on it, or what?
Well, they would recommend you take the sellotape off if possible. I know a lot of people won't, but I think more importantly would be try to avoid the really shiny wrapping papers. They're much harder to recycle. They will take them at recycle sites, but a lot of that will then just go and not be reused. So why not use good old-fashioned postal brown paper and wrap it up with some nice string or some recycled ribbon? And they look absolutely fabulous. That's what we do every year, and everyone comments how nice they look. So that's the best, the old-fashioned postal wrapping paper, because that recycles very easily. Yeah,
I remember that a certain well-known store that specialises in selling paper used to do brown wrapping paper with Christmas decoration printing on it, and everyone used to comment about that, for how nice it was.
Exactly, and if you want to do that yourself, you can get a little ink stamp or a little paint stamp. Do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what about the actual packaging for the products that, if you get an iPad, or if you get a new phone, or you get new this or new that, all these things come well packaged these days, don't they?
Yeah, they come overly packed, a lot of things. We're lucky now that in the recycling, a lot of them now are mixed recycling, which makes things much, much easier. If you're unlucky enough to live in somewhere that still you have to separate anything, make sure you separate it out into separate bins. My feeling is it is really down to the council to make sure that everything is recyclable. They say they don't take some stuff, but I'm pretty sure most packaging is recyclable now. They don't like taking bags. If it's got a bags, they won't do that, and that means they might not take your rubbish away. So don't put any carrier bags in the recycle. But electronics, If you've got space, keep the box, because then when you're reselling it at second hand, you'll get more money for it, and that'll actually save on the recycling as well. Phones, once you put them back to factory settings, you can recycle them and get money. So don't automatically think everything has to go straight in the bin or the recycling.
Okay. Food waste, I suppose, is the other big item at this time of year.
Yeah, try not to buy too much food. Don't be one of these people that buys a ton of stuff on Christmas Eve or the 23rd and then gets back down the shops on Boxing Day. We don't. There's plenty of food going around. Just use the. If you do have the waste, recycle it properly. But the best tip is don't over purchase.
Yeah. So, anything else that we should be thinking about if we want to recycle stuff? I mean, yeah.
I guess the thing is, what do you got to remember? It seems like a hassle sometimes when you're recycling and when you're saying you want a bit of a greener Christmas, but it will save you a lot of money and you'll have just as good a time. I would say if you've got any last-minute presents to buy, well, obviously I would, but a second-hand book is a good present. You don't need to buy a new one even. Or get along to your charity shops. You'll be surprised how many DVDs they have that are still in the original shrink wrap that people have given them as, and you might know someone in the family who's done that. So try to find presents that are already part of the recycle process. Don't necessarily go out and buy something brand new. Especially for the Secret Santa, because that present always gets put in the bin. So don't buy anything new for Secret Santa.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for that. I know you'll be back a bit later for one more last quick piece, but Chris is sort of like suddenly, well, half appeared on the scene. I've seen him sort of like trying to log in. Chris, are you there?
Yes.
Ah, well, we've only got your sound at the moment. Oh, Chris.
Yeah, I'm trying to get in here. Hang on.
Okay. Okay. Do you want to come back in a couple of moments? And I'll do a restaurant review in the meantime. Okay. So, Catherine,
Yeah?
slightly out of order, but a restaurant review, please.
Absolutely. Now this is an odd one because I haven't actually been there yet. Well, I have, but not for quite a while. But it's actually somewhere we're going tonight, so I know it's good, and so I don't mind reviewing it one little bit. This is the Alibaba Indian restaurant down in King Street in Watford. If you go down towards the Restaurant Quarter, down at the bottom of the High Street, there's a very old-style, family-run, traditional Indian restaurant that is not necessarily part of the big conglomerate of all the chains that you normally see on the quarter there. They've been there for years and years and years, and they are fantastic. I was reading a review earlier today from someone who travels a lot in India, and he said whenever they come back to Watford, it's always where they go to because it's the most authentic tasting Indian food. And they're a really friendly bunch there as well. I can't remember the guy's name that runs it, but he will always come round to each of the tables when you're there and have a chat with you and make sure everything's okay. So yeah, the Alibaba Indian restaurant in King Street, number 13 King Street. If you know King Street at all, you'll know that there's Luckett's taxi service down there. They're next door, not far away from the old bingo hall down there as well. They do all the normal range of Indian foods, but it's all really, really lovely. It's very freshly cooked, all cooked to order. Nothing sitting around, waiting for people to order it. It's all freshly cooked to order. If you want to have delivery or takeaway, they're on all the usual delivery sites, Just Eat, Hungry House rather, and you can also use a taste card there as well, so you can get various offers, usually during the week, a 2-for-1 deal of some sort. Very often they won't apply to Fridays and Saturdays, but yeah, it's a lovely place to go. They do all the usual Indian dishes. I won't run through the whole menu, but they do have traditional dishes, and their special chefs selections, which will come and go, and they will change depending on what chef is promoting. So yes, if you fancy a traditional, authentic Indian curry, go along to the Ali Baba in King Street, and they will welcome you with open arms. You can find them on Facebook and Twitter as well, and yeah, definitely worth a visit.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Sorry to sort of like go straight to you like that. We still can't get hold of Chris. He's still not appeared yet, so I will review some of the stuff that's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks in terms of Link for Growth in South West Hertfordshire. Next week, Link for Growth is very much a shortened and truncated programme because basically it's the Christmas week, so there's not a lot on. But we do have tonight the final Yellow Comedy event sponsored by Link for Growth at Attica, starting at 7:30. Sandra Howell is one of the acts appearing, and Sandra became the first Yellow Comedy King or Queen of Hertfordshire the other week. She is an incredibly funny lady, incredibly talented, and she's not even a headliner, so the headliner must be absolutely fabulous. So if you want a good night out and a good laugh, like we had last Friday at Reason Cafe, then please do go along to Attica this evening at 7:30. Entrance is free, but you pay to get out, is their slogan. So, you know, it's all, the acts are usually very good. They all tend to be up-and-coming type of acts, but they're also usually incredibly funny. Tomorrow, Chris is going to be in Barracuda as usual between 10 and 11:30 to meet anyone who wants to know more about Watford Link for Growth and Link for Growth in South West Herts, and also about the Watford Rickmansworth Community Kickstarter initiatives, which are initiatives to try and build the community here in Watford and in Rickmansworth, so that there's much more interconnectedness between people, a lot more support for buying off from local organisations, and that kind of community building type activity. However, will
Hello.
Hello, you're back.
I am back, yes. I'm down here at the Pope's Yard Brewery, amongst beer and people. Men, actually.
Well, we trialled this to see if you could organise a binge in a brewery.
Yeah, that's not the real word, is it? Piss up in a brewery. Oh, sorry. Not supposed to say that, are we? So anyway, yeah, we're down here. Well, no problem. So we're down here. I'm just gonna swivel the camera, and I brought the tripod down here so we can actually see us actually doing some beer tasting. But you can see there's some beer on the table there. We've got some casks behind us here. You can see these vats and beer making equipment. But we're not here to see beer making equipment. I'm down here with Nick. Hi, Nick. And this is Catherine's. Well, he said better half earlier, but I'm.
Other half.
So, but we're down here to taste some beer. So now I'm with Ben. Hi, Ben.
Hi there.
How you doing? All right. So you can't see Ben at the moment, but he's there behind there. So we're gonna try some beer here. What have we got then that we can try, Ben?
Well, what would you like to try? I can start you with.
Chris, can you hold the microphone closer to Ben, please?
Our best bitter. I'll grab a little glass for you.
So we're trying some beer here. We're gonna try and be professional beer drinkers, Nick and I, and we're gonna try. You got to come a little bit closer to the camera, Nick.
Try.
There you go.
Sorry.
How do you mean try?
Well, now. So now I do know a little bit about beer making, as we've spoken before. This is beer condition. This is bottle conditioned beer, isn't it?
This is bottle conditioned. This is beer. It's got live yeast in the bottle, which brings it a natural carbonation.
Okay, so we got that back at the ranch, yeah? Right, so we're going to try this.
Yeah.
So, and what's the name of this?
This best bitter is called Quartermaster.
Quartermaster, okay. And it's quite fruity.
Yeah, it uses two different hops. It uses a hop called Bramlin Cross, which is a classic British hop, which kind of gives you, it's supposed to give you blackcurrant and that kind of.
Alpha acid content we're talking here, aren't we?
Alpha acid content, if you want, is about 7.8 on the Bramlings.
Right.
The other hop that's in there is Galaxy, which is an Australian hop. Alpha acid, if you want that, is about I think it's about 12.
So that's pretty up there, isn't it?
It's high on the alpha acid.
So now that hop is the bit that gives it the bitterness, and the dryness, the real hoppy sort of.
So hops are used for two separate purposes when you're making beer. They are used to put the bitterness into the beer, and it depends on where you add them to the process in the boil.
Right.
The hops to provide the bitterness to the beer at the start of the boil, and then the late addition hops will bring you more aroma and flavour at the end of the boil, and then you'll get more of the flavour of the hop. Things like you can get sort of fruit notes and that kind of thing coming through. With the Galaxy hop, it brings out passion fruit, that kind of thing.
Right.
This is very nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very fruity.
And is this one of the popular beers?
Yeah, that's one of our popular beers. One of our most popular. We've also do Golden Ale at 3.8%. We do a range of beer, all different styles, including a Belgian style beer, and we go all the way through to a really dark porter at 10.9% that's been aged for over a year in a whiskey barrel.
Well, so none of that making that last week and selling it tomorrow type of thing.
No. The batch we're selling home was made in 2014.
Right. And what's the gravity of this one we're drinking here?
Final gravity, I think it's about 10,012. The starting gravity is about 1,042, I think. Off my hand. With the brew record, I'll be able to tell you exactly.
And that's the other thing when you're making beer like this, you've got to keep accurate records because they tax you on the gravity that you produce, don't they?
You have to make sure that all the records are kept for HMRC and beer duty.
And when do you pay that tax, just out of interest?
We pay the beer duty at the point we've made it. So we make it, it finishes fermenting in our fermenters. It will either go into casks, it normally goes into casks to start off with anyway, or bottles. And at that point we pay our beer duty. Right. You can, there are other ways that brewers do it, but that's the way we do it because it keeps things simple.
Right, okay.
But it puts the cost up front to us, unfortunately. But
it doesn't hang around that long, does it?
No. We find that it does tend to disappear quite quickly, especially when we're giving it away.
So this year, I mean, last year you were on the market.
That's
we
right.
saw you on there, and you didn't have a license to sell beer at that point, did you? I don't think. Well, you had a license to sell it, but not here.
Yeah, no, we didn't. Yeah, we didn't have we were on a temporary events notice on Watford High Street. We are actually on a temporary events notice here at the moment.
Right.
But the licensing department at Watford have said to us, why don't we get a license? My business partner's already done the course that you need to do it, so it's should be more of a formality next year to get a permanent license here.
And you're now in this location here. I don't know whether you can see that. It's quite a nice location down here. The previous location was two smaller units. Ben was explaining earlier, so you've got a lot of space here to grow into it and really take.
Saying that, we've pretty filled it at the moment.
Well, it's like all these things, isn't it? You got the space, you fill it up.
Exactly.
And so what's the malt in here? Is this like?
It's all
crushed crystal malt, not crushed.
It's crushed pale malt, but all the malt that we buy is British malt. We try to get most of our malt, we do actually get most of our malt from a very small traditional floor maltster in Warminster. So that's where most of our malt comes from.
Right.
In that there is obviously the pale malt, but there's also some crystal malt, so very well picking that out. There's a small amount of amber malt and a tiny dash of chocolate malt. So there's three different malts in there. So it gives it a nice complex malt base.
Yeah. Excellent. And you've got some. So what yeast do you use? Because that's one of the big questions for brewers. Because there are some brewers like Sam Smith's in the old days.
Yeah.
I remember I made some. I went down to their pub in Marylebone High Street, and they actually gave me some of the sediment out of one of the barrels, and I used that to brew a batch of beer, which gave it a completely different taste to if I was just using like a normal powdered produce malt. So what malt do you?
We use all different types of yeasts. For that particular beer, it is a fairly neutral English ale yeast. We use that because we want to keep it a fairly clean fermentation. We don't want very many flavours from the yeast in that.
It does change.
It does, and it's what we wanted with that particular beer. But if you wanted to taste a beer that's all about the yeast, you should try this one. It's our new Belgian style beer
right, okay.
called St Albans. and it's brewed with Belgian ale yeast, a much higher fermentation temperature, which gives you loads of fruity esters. And this is a beer that's all about the yeast character.
Right, okay. Here we go. We try this one now. Actually,
The last one was 4.4, and this one is 8.5.
Wow. Blimey, so, that's me. That's me. It's like I'm walking home. 8%. That's not the bit. We're in hell.
Hand in your keys, you two.
Yeah, so
it's very nice. Very, very nice. I tell you what, we've got a good job down here today.
Chris, when we do a wine shop, you're going to be in the studio.
But it's also like candied orange peel. And I think it finishes with a slight spicy, almost pepper finish.
It's quite caramelly as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and you'd think it was, people say it's quite sweet.
Yeah, but it's very sweet.
It's not actually sweetness that's coming from sugars. That is our lowest gravity finishing beer at 1003. So it's all of the sugar pretty much has been fermented out of it. And all of that flavour comes from the fermentation on the yeast. Because it's very neutral hopping as well.
I think Diane, who you can see there on the screen, she's a big fan of Belgian sort of beers.
You'll have to take a bottle back for her.
I'm not sure he'll get there.
Those bottles in the bags on the counter there, are they the ones you're bringing home, Nick?
Yeah, Catherine's just said, are those bottles on the counter there the ones you're bringing home?
No, they're not.
We've already put his in the car. There's quite a few of them.
Well, actually, you can make an order for me, but we'll talk about it after the show's gone off air. But, Chris, where do they get all the recipes from? Are they using old Benskin's recipes, or are they recipes that Pope's Yard have just generated themselves, or
okay, I will ask that question. So, are these beers recipes that you formulated yourself? Or are they all sort of homegrown things that you thought actually would like a bit more of that in there, and that needs a bit more balance?
Yeah, they're all developed by Jeff and myself. Yeah. And over time, some need refining, and others, do plenty of research before we actually brew a beer. So quite often we know what we're doing before we get, so we know roughly what kind of result we're going to get.
Yeah. So does that answer your question, Diane?
Yeah, it does, because I wondered if they were sort of like tapping in, if you'll excuse the expression, to the Benskin heritage.
I don't think so. Yeah, it's all homegrown stuff down here, which is fantastic. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so that's us down here. We're there you go. There's some sales being made as we speak here. Yeah, there was your beer, Catherine.
Buy some more.
So you're not brewing beer for sale, draft beer for sale at the moment, but I've spotted some at the back there.
We do quite often beer festivals, that kind of thing. We're always at Watford Beer Festival, we're always at St Albans Beer Festival, and a few other beer festivals locally in Hertfordshire normally.
Right.
We occasionally will cask go into a pub, but mainly our focus is on bottled beers at the moment.
Yeah, bottled sort of craft beer.
Yeah, and we hope to get more cask beer over the next year as we begin to scale up.
The production. Yeah. So what are the plans for Pope's Yard Brewery? Where's your vision for where it's going?
Well, we just hope to make really good beer. That's all we want to do. So I hope make really good beer. People enjoy it. We make a living out of it. That's all that we want, really. You don't want that much more than that. We don't want world domination.
It's nice to have a brewery back in the town, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was one of our main aims when Jeff and I started. This all those years ago. It was we're both Watford lads, and we really wanted to bring brewing back to Watford. Yeah. It's a rich history of brewing in Watford, which had sadly all gone by the wayside. So hopefully we can bring some of that back.
You're not bringing the water straight from the canal, are you?
Yeah, dredging the canal. Oh no,
no. Apparently the. Down by some printers, you might know this, but that clock tower below that is a well.
Yes, I did know that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Directional drilling, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we could see if we can get it pumped up the hill. I don't know.
Well, actually, it's been fascinating talking to you. Is there any other questions back at the ranch, Diane, or are we all set there?
No, I mean, just basically, how long does it take for a bottle of beer to get made? Is it 10 minutes, or is it 10 minutes and then 10 weeks of waiting?
Right. Okay. So what Diane's asked there is how long does it take to make a batch of beer from if you like the initial mash. I'm using all the technical terms here. Mash, the sparging and all that stuff. I've been there. So from that original mash there, right the way through to obviously bottled beers take a bit longer because you've got to recondition them in the beer. But what do you like to leave as the time?
It depends on. It's going to sound a bit of a cop out, but it depends on the beer. Yeah. But if we're going to talk very broadly, it'll take a day to make the bitter wort, which is your, want a better word, proto beer, your sugary wort that is then the yeast goes into and then the yeast works on. So it normally takes about a week to ferment. Then after that, you'll need to condition it and then bottle it, and then it needs to condition for a couple of weeks normally. So we're normally between 4 and 6 weeks, something like that, depending on the beer. So you've been busy brewing for like the late summer, all the way preparing for this Christmas rush. Yeah. And I'm guessing that you know what you make in the last 2 or 3 weeks is just like you can't sell it at Christmas time. It's just because it's just not ready. Yeah. Well, actually, we tend to slow down the brewing just before Christmas. Right. Because we concentrate a bit more on the selling. Yeah. So there you go. And I guess the higher the gravity, the more intense the flavour, the longer it takes. I mean, I made some barley wine once. It was like 18 months in the bottle. Yeah. Well, we've got one that takes a whole year to mature. Right. Which is called our keeping porter. That's 10.9%. Right. And that's matured on a whiskey cask, and that takes a whole year to mature. Well, we're taking some of that away with us, aren't we? We'll only want one of them tonight. So there you go. So that has been Pope's Yard Brewing. Has Christmas been good for you so far? It's been very good. Thank you very much. Brilliant. Can't say better than that. Look at that. Pope's Yard Brewery down here in Watford. Very successful. Having a great Christmas and an even better one soon because I'm going to buy some beer.
Yeah, tell Nick to buy some as well. Thank you.
Nick, you've got to buy some beer.
I've got to buy some beer. Oh.
There you go. 2 more customers right here.
And for me also, Chris, and I'll send you my order off air, okay?
Okay, you'll send the order off air. Okay, no problem. Okay, thanks for having us. I'm sorry I was a bit late, but getting back from Stevenage in the rush hour is not a happy thing.
Well, you obviously had a good time.
Yeah. Enjoyed it now. Good. Okay, take care. We're off air, all right?
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. I'll catch you later.
Yeah, cheers.
Okay. As I was saying, we've got Link for Growth starting up again in the new year because there are no more Link for Growth events apart from the Chris being in Barracuda tomorrow morning between 10 and 11:30. First event in the new year will be on Monday the 4th of January when the kitchen will host a Link for Coffee event starting at 5 o'clock. So if Chris is still looking to expand the waistline after excess of Christmas eating, he can with their lemon drizzle cake. But who knows? He might not. Then on the 6th of January, which is Wednesday, they'll be holding a Link for Coffee at Regis Business. Link for Coffee at the Regis Business Centre on Clarendon Road between 10 and 11:30. Then on Thursday the 7th, the Perk in Carpenter's Park will host another coffee between 9:30 and 11 o'clock. The Perk is a coffee shop in that parade of shops in Carpenter's Park down near the station there. And then next Friday, the 8th, which is when we will be having our first show of the year, there will be a special South West Arts TV show because we're coming live from the first ever Link for Growth National Conference at Missenden Abbey. Tickets for this event have already sold out, but we will be reporting from the event. We'll all be taking laptops down there and our cameras and stuff like that and trying to make it all happen. So it should be a really fascinating show. We'll be reporting on some of the local stuff that happens in South West Hearts, but also on some of the stuff that happens at the conference and stuff like that. Then the following week we'll be back to a normal Link for Growth show. But we've already had Catherine's restaurant review, but the reason why Neal has hung around is that last night Neal was lucky enough with his wife to go and see Star Wars. Neal, no spoiler review. Is it worth going?
Yeah, no spoilers. I'm very excited still after watching it. It's a must-see. If you've liked any of the Star Wars films, you will like it, I'm sure. It's getting great reviews on all the websites. I managed to avoid seeing very much about it. I saw the very first trailer and then tried to avoid everything. Fans of the original would be pleased to know that they brought some of the comedy back into it from the original. It's not over the top. It's really good. The 3D, I watched it in 3D, works really well, especially the space scenes. So I was really glad about that because a lot of 3D films can be quite underwhelming. And I would call it a return to form.
Okay, well that sounds really enthusiastic and everything. So are you going to be perhaps going again to relive the experience?
If I can find time, I would be more than willing to see it again. I'm more than happy. There was loads of stuff I'm sure going on in the background that I missed, but overall, yeah, it's fantastic, and it's really hard to review because I don't want to give any spoilers, but I loved it.
So, and was everyone else coming out speaking? Yeah, you know, when you've seen something that's really good, everyone leaves the venue and there's that kind of like an excited babble that you can only get when you know that something's been appreciated by virtually everyone in the audience. Was that present?
Yeah, absolutely. And what is amazing is everyone who has seen it, and I've seen, the first thing they do is they come in a room and ask, is there anywhere here who hasn't seen it? And then no one will say anything then. Everyone's just absolutely silent, which never happens to a film. That's how excited everyone is about it. They want everyone to experience it for the first time rather than spoiling it for them.
Okay, well that sounds really good.
So good. I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm trying to think how on earth can I fit this in before Christmas. I've got to go and see the 3D version. But I knew too. You're the third person I know who was at the premiere last night, and all I saw on Facebook were pictures from this other chap who was there, and it was like, whoa! It's just such a buzz around it. It looked amazing.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Cool.
Okay, well that's good. And on such a high note, it's time to say cheerio. Unfortunately, Tania has had to go, but she did say Merry Christmas to everyone, which is a thought I'd like to repeat and say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. There is no show next Friday, or indeed the following Friday, New Year's Day. So we will see you all on the 8th.
Merry Christmas, everyone, and have
Merry
a lovely
Christmas, everyone.
time.
Happy holidays to everyone who doesn't celebrate Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Indeed. Season's greetings too.
Cheers.
Okay. Right then, well, thank you very much for joining me this year. It's been great having your support and help on the show. And I look forward to carrying on in the new year. Bye-bye.